This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. I cannot wait until we stamp out white Christian nationalism like the disease that it is. But that is a mixed metaphor. You don't really stamp out diseases. Eradicate white Christian nationalism like we do a disease. That works better. See, I mean, how much more evidence do you need that this is not a scripted program? Today, I want to talk about Dusty Deevers. He is an Oklahoma state representative, a legislator in the state house, an avowed Christian nationalist. He wouldn't say white Christian nationalist, but certainly he is a white Christian nationalist. I have two clips for you today on this guy. And the reason that sometimes I play clips of people who are state legislators is because eventually they end up being federal legislators. They end up in the House of Representatives. That's the water flowing downhill. That's the easiest path for them. Matt Gaetz, I believe, was a state legislator. Several people, most people go that route. Maybe not most, but many, many, many. So this guy could very well be a problem on a federal level. It's certainly a problem for the citizens of Oklahoma that he is prescribing Christianity be the way that we foundationally build our country and our laws and our policy. That no other person should be holding office in the United States unless they're a Christian. And those people who aren't Christians, and this is the first clip here, those people who aren't Christians, actually, it's better for them to be ruled by Christians and Christian policies. Watch this dipshit.
When you impose laws on people who are not Christians, right, they are godless. Let's say they could even be pagans or atheists, and they are now forced, because they live in a jurisdiction like your own, let's say, if they pass some of the laws that you've proposed, that requires them to abide, at least externally, under God's law in some way. Is that an extension of the mediatorial role of Christ, or how does that work? Is that something separate in your mind?
Yeah, that's absolutely an extension. And what they're getting is they're getting a measure of grace from being in proximity to true Christianity. So whenever Christians are voted into office, it's not just good for Christians, it's good for the wicked as well. It's good for those who maybe are yet to come to Christ. So whenever there are several proverbs and several scriptures that talk about when the righteous increase, the people flourish. And so whenever the wicked increase, the people groan. Whenever there's wicked rulers, the people groan. Why is that? Because God who made this world also spoke. The God who created also speaks. And he spoke in his word how the world is to be ordered. And that ordered good is the best life for anyone and everyone, whether they believe in him or not. So it is a grace to all under the jurisdiction of a Christian leader who will bow the knee to Christ. It's a grace to all of them.
Once again, thank you to Right Wing Watch for the work that you do and the tireless dedication to exposing these maniacs. There was a lot there that he said. That even non-believers, even non-Christians, meaning Muslims and Jews and just atheists, agnostic, people who don't adhere to the faith of Christianity, that they will be given a measure of grace because it'll be better for them living, he doesn't say how, it'll be better for them, living under the rule of Christian nationalism. It'd be good for the wicked, he said, for the wicked. Because if you're not a Christian, or what he said, true Christianity, he didn't go into any detail about what fake Christianity is or less real Christianity is. But you're wicked if you're not a member of his particular interpretation of the Bible, of which there are thousands. His is the correct one. and the laws he wants to impose based on the Bible, and I have another clip here, but where he explains the justifications for this, which, by the way, spoiler alert, aren't based on the Constitution. Ultimately, what he's saying is he's justifying violating the United States Constitution and using the Bible as a justification. But if you're somebody who's in the LGBTQ community, if you're someone who wants to seek health care in the form of an abortion, no. Because Dusty Deevers, his true Christianity says no. And you're wicked, but it's a measure of grace that you're ruled by Christians. Again, antithetical, indirect, it's contrary to the Constitution. It violates the Constitution, the First Amendment of the Constitution. Here, watch Dusty Deevers, same dipshit, who has political aspirations beyond the Oklahoma legislature, talking about the how it would work. What are the justifications for it? Violating the Constitution and using the Bible to do so. Watch this.
Governing is about a use of authority. And what is the standard for the use of authority? And is that authority prescribed in the scriptures? And we would say, yes, God prescribes servants of his to govern as his mediators on this earth. And so he has prescribed governing, and then he has also prescribed the means for our governing. And that means is in accordance with his word. And if we do otherwise, then we are essentially usurping the sovereign rule of God through Christ, who has been seated above every power in heaven and on earth and under the earth. So that's our marching orders, and it's pretty straightforward as far as if you want to talk about Christian nationalism, what we mean by a Christian nation.
What about Jews who don't believe this? What about people of the Sikh faith who don't believe this? What about Muslims? What about people who don't have a religious tradition? They don't believe in God. What about them? What about Catholics or Presbyterians or Lutherans? Other doctrinal Christian faiths. What about them? They're not true Christians. They're wicked. So this is where the problem lies. That he is in the dominant political culture in the United States. He's white, he's male, he's Christian. So he wants to convince everyone that, we'll just go with Christianity. That's the best way. But the pernicious and wicked part of this is that all the other versions of Christianity out there aren't good enough in the eyes of Dusty Deevers. He wants his how lucky for him that he was born in the United States into the one minor version of Christianity. He just happened to be born into that, and he's in the power structure. Wow, what a blessing for this guy, right? This is why there is a prohibition of mixing church and state. A prohibition in the First Amendment that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. There's no religious test in the Constitution relative to what religion you are to run for office, to hold office in the United States. It was by design. But not if you listen to Dusty Deevers, who uses the Bible as his justification, even though he rose his right hand and swore an oath before God that he would support and defend the Constitution of the United States and most certainly the state of Oklahoma against all enemies, foreign and domestic. The Constitution he swore before God an oath to, he wants to violate. That's some integrity, right? Good times. What do you think? I'd love to know. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, as always, daily@dollemore.com. I would love to hear from you. Please consider supporting this work, producing this work. Click the join button below. Become a channel member for $2 a month. Hit the super thanks button. Go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore everywhere. I'd love to hear from you. Even you, Dusty Deevers. Dipshit Dusty Deevers. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? I'm a dipshit too. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.